Okay, so the one thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to go out at night, and I'm going to feel a little bit more comfortable about doing that, because I know if I turn around I can see, there you can see that battery glistening over there. You can see all those batteries. So now it makes it so much easier to not get lost. However, finding the ores, on the other hand, that's up to you. I've got my mining drill, and this time I'm definitely going to use the ore scanner. So when I find nickel, I need to dig up every bit of it, because it's very hard to find, and it doesn't really give you a lot. It does not have large nodes. Nickel. Okay, so that's all I found. As you can see, I have 108 nickel items away, and then we need to find home. Now I also want to find some lead. Yes, this is our lead. It is whatever colors those are. But we're going to grab all of this lead. We're going to use up our inventory to our advantage. Yeah, all we got out of that was 20 lead and a little bit of iron. It took me a while to track down the silver, so I ended up getting a lot of nickel. I've got some already smelted up around the corner. But I found all my ores, and this is exactly what you're going to need. 2 batches of nickel, some copper, iron, gold, silver, and some iron and lead. You don't need 50 of each, you just need even numbers, and I would suggest at least maybe 20 of each. First thing we're going to do is dump our furnace. And you can see that's still pretty hot, and that's why I moved it away from everything, because it can combust wires. It can, set them afire. You want to keep it away from glass. The high pressure can break it, and that's good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna close the furnace. But I've also picked up a little bit of nitrous. It's daylight, so we can prep in the daylight. So we're gonna need alloys. Constantan. That's above high pressure, decent temp. A 50-50 copper and nickel. Our first one is actually going to be INVAR. 18 to 20 MPa. Iron to nickel. Above 1.2 Kelvin. Our last one will be solder, iron and lead, low temperature. And we're going to have to cool it off to get down here, but stay above 1 MPa. Our next one will be Constantan. That's a high pressure, 20 MPa, above 1000. And then we're going to do Electrum, 800 to 2.4, above 600. It's daylight, so we can prep in the daylight. So we're going to need alloys. Constantan. That's above high pressure, decent temp. A 50-50 copper and nickel. Our first one is actually going to be INVAR. 18 to 20 MPa. Iron to nickel. Above 1.2 Kelvin. Our last one will be solder, iron and lead, low temperature. And we're going to have to cool it off to get down here, but stay above 1 MPa. And we'll just have to wait on sunset. So I've reorganized them in the order I'm going to use them. Iron and nickel first. Everything ready to go. I've got my oxide selected and my volatiles. Close this down in order to put them in. I'm actually going to put 9 oxide in there and give it a high temp. So let's see what happens. And we see we're still burning, so I'm just going to hold off on it. You see we're getting a pretty high temp, above 2,000, which is good because remember it's going to cool off. Alright, I want to put in my iron. And my nickel. Okay, here comes our temperature. We're going to kind of release just a little bit of that. That should give us... There it is. There's our INVAR. What's next? So what we can do, make sure it's empty. We put our copper and our nickel in there. Make sure the valve is closed. For de-lever. And we're just going to add in 1, 2, 3. And we're going to add in 1 oxide. So we should already have some oxygen in there. And that'll bring us back up above the pressure. And there's our Constantan above 600. So all we have to do is drain this out. We're going to close that. We're going to start putting that in there. Remember, it's make sure to pick up your ingots before they roll away. We're keeping an eye on that. Drop in our silver. Go ahead and close that. Alright, and I've also got another little helpful tool that came out of the hydraulic pipe bender. So I've got a little radiator which will help us cool it down. There's our Electrum. Close. Make sure we get our iron and our lead in there. And now we want solder below 550, above 1 megapascal. So look, there it is. And there's our solder. Now, if the temperature is still too hot, you're trying to do solder, it's better to just walk away and let it cool down a little bit. Do not open the valve, because trying to get pressure back up is going to increase the heat. Okay, so now you have your ores. What do we build with it? I'm going to show you in the next episode. Make sure you subscribe so you can find out when the next episode's coming around. Thanks for watching.